We're focusing on the biggest stories yet in politics. So former Minister of Information and chieftain of the Social Democratic Party SDP, Professor Jerry Gana, has applauded the judgment of an Abuja High Court affirming him as the presidential candidate of the party. Addressing a news conference in Abuja, Professor Gana said the verdict of the court is a victory for democracy and party politics, as the culture of imposition of candidates by political parties is no longer fashionable. The ex-minister further stated that he fully subscribed to the peace accord initiated by the General Abdulsalami Abubakar-led National Peace Committee and is prepared for a peaceful general election. The accord has been signed by the PDP presidential candidate Alhaji Atiku Abubakar and the President Muhammadu Buhari, among other presidential aspirants. Data feeds are coming through in one place simultaneously on all our social media platforms, channelstv.com and on youtube.com/channelsweb. You can follow us right now on m.channelstv.com and on Facebook as well. We've got all our platforms of social media covered. Be part of the show. Tweet at Gimba Umar CTV. Use the hashtag State of the Nation. Let's get your thoughts in. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says that there is no provision whatsoever made for any Nigerian outside the country to vote in the general elections in 2019. INEC National Commissioner and Chairman of Information and Voter Education Committee, Mr. Festus Okoye, made the clarification in a statement. What does this mean for Nigerians living outside the country, with pillars of possible voting centers set up in Chad, Sudan and Niger Republic? Already the Nigerian Immigration Service says it has retrieved over 700 voter cards from non-Nigerians ahead of the 2019 general elections. Will it get better or worse? The federal government yesterday has told Nigerians not to blame it for the poor electricity supply across the country. The Minister of Works, Power and Housing, Mr. Babatunde Fashola San, who spoke at the stakeholders meeting in Abuja, however, advised electricity consumers in the country to direct their complaints about poor power supply and faulty equipment to electricity distribution companies, the DISCOs, and generation companies, the GENCOs. Is this acceptable to the Nigerian people? We'll focus on this in just a moment. It's prime time here in Lagos, and this is State of the Nation. Welcome everyone in Nigeria and the rest of the world. I am Gimba Umar and this is State of the Nation. We begin with comments made by the Minister of Power, Works and Housing, asking Nigerians to blame the distribution and generation companies for the lack of power supply of electricity in the country, saying the sector has been privatized. Sunday Oduton is the President Association of Nigerian Electricity Distributors, ANED. He joins me on the show. I want to thank you so much indeed for coming on the show at this time. Let's begin with the statement of the Minister, if you will. Blame the DISCOs and the GENCOs because they are now private entities. Is that a fair statement as a submission from the Minister?
First of all, I didn't watch him saying it. If it was televised, I'm not sure. I hope, and I really hope there's a tape to watch so that we can be very sure that he actually said so.
He actually said it's been reported
if he did, I read something like that in the Punch and the Vanguard. If the minister actually said so, then that's the most unfortunate statement he will ever make for me that I will ever read him make, if he said so. Based on that if he said so, then we're in trouble. Something is wrong with us as a nation. Because the last time I checked, the so-called entities that were privatized were not 100% privatized. Let me start with generation companies in the value chain. Generation companies, the federal government owns 40% there. The next one in the value chain, the one in the middle, is Transmission Company of Nigeria. Transmission Company of Nigeria is 100% owned by the federal government. And then we, the distribution companies, the federal government has 40% shares. Their 40% stake also translates into the fact that on all the boards of all the DISCOs And all the boards of all the GENCOs, they have directors represented by the BP, Bureau of Public Enterprise. So that's federal government present in all these companies. So yes, private, largely private, 60 to 40, but we run the company together. That's a fact. That's why I keep saying that whenever there's a problem.
What does it mean now for Nigeria?
So
when if the blame the discos and the GENCOs, don't blame the federal government.
Well, I hope he's not speaking for the federal government. I hope he's speaking for himself. If he's speaking for the federal government, then we're in trouble because it means that the minister has gone. And for me, I don't want to join issues with him. As much as possible, I don't want to go back to those days when he personalized issues and it became Odun or Fashola matter. This is now should be Fashola and Nigerian people matter. But people can now read themselves and see and ask questions. Because the federal government created agencies that drive the policies and the regulatory framework of the power sector. NEC is an agency of the federal government. That's the regulator. MBET is there. Even the Federal Minister of Power, where he presides, is a federal government entity. And they are the one that provide the policies that drive the power sector. And there's no way you can have success or failure in that sector without their contribution. Anytime there is success in the sector, you have to give it to them that they've done well. Anytime there's any form of failure, they must take part of it because they are the one that has failed to do what they need to do to get the sector the way it should be. That's what it is.
So at this point, if at the federal level, if we have to look at power generation and the policies that the government will have to make, if we have to scale it down to the state level, we know with adequate information that the BEDC has got some level of agreement between the governor of that state, Godwin Obaseki, the BEDC Electricity Distribution Company over the supply of electricity from the Azura Power plant in Edo State. How is that supposed to work? Because people are concerned, where do we get our electricity from?
It is very unfortunate because I think people that are executive governors of states are people that with them are very knowledgeable and have enough people that work with them or work for them who can sit down with them and let them know how the system works. The issue of Benin, BEDC Electricity Distribution Company, Benin, with His Excellency Governor Godwin Obaseki, is a very, very instructive one in the sense that Azura is